General Hospital 2-week spoilers July 28 to August 8, Nina falls apart and Kristina spills her secret. General Hospital 2-week spoilers for July 28 through August 8 see Nina Reeves, Cynthia Watros, having a total meltdown and Kristina Corinthos Davis, Kate Monsey making a confession. On Monday, July 28, we've got Kristina confiding in Michael Corinthos, Rory Gibson. It looks like Kristina is going to confess that she nearly killed Rick Lansing, Rick Hurst, and Elizabeth Weber, Rebecca Herbst, while trying to really kill Ava Jerome, Maura West. Michael then asks Kristina what could possibly be worse than the people she tried to kill. I'm guessing she reveals her Cody Bell, Josh Kelly, and Ava plot when Michael wants to know what she's up to. What's extra dodgy about this Cody and Ava plot now is that Kristina knows that Molly Lansing Davis, Kristen Vaganos, actually likes Cody and it looks kind of mutual. But Kristina is so caught up in her own revenge that she can't let her sister be happy. Molly is lashing out at Cody on Monday because Kristina got in her head. Messy stuff. Molly says he just wants her hands on him, which may be true, but still, Cody's not getting a fair shake with that. General Hospital spoilers, Willow says I don't? At Willow Tate, Caitlin McMullen, and Drew Kane Quartermain's, Cameron Matheson, wedding, she comes down the aisle. They're doing vows. Lucy Coe Lynn Herring asks, if anybody objects, speak now, forever hold your peace. Willow may object to her own wedding. I don't think she's going to end this day as Mrs. Drew Kane Quartermain. We'll see. Jocelyn Jacks Eden McCoy gets orders from Jack Brennan, Chris McKenna, and she's wondering if there's a problem. Jack says that depends on Joss. They're talking at the WSB office, and obviously, this is about the Hank Dalton, Daniel Goddard case. Carly Corinthos Spencer, Laura Wright, asks Jason Morgan, Steve Burton, if he's thinking about digging someone up, that someone being Britt Westbourne, Kelly Thibault. Then Jason goes looking for Liesl Albrecht, Kathleen Gotti. Looks like she should be free because that wedding doesn't look like it's going to last that long. He really wants to talk to her about what he saw on General Hospital. General Hospital spoilers, explosive confessions and wedding drama unfolding July 28. On Tuesday, July 29, Martin Gray, Michael E. Knight gets some interesting info. This may be back to that letter he found at Drew's place that is written to Monica Quartermain, Leslie Charlson. We have heard that Erica Slezak is going to be playing Monica's sister, and this is part of Monica's official character exit for the death of the beloved Quartermain matriarch because Leslie Charlson, of course, passed away. It looks like they're finally getting into this plot. Something makes Tracy Quartermain, Jane Elliott, and Cody very happy, and I believe it's the destruction of Drew's wedding to Willow and the truth about Drew sleeping with Nina finally coming out. Also, Jason talks to Liesl about Britt, about Jason seeing this lookalike getting on a plane to Croatia. I cannot wait to see Liesl's reaction because I feel like she has a hand in this. We'll see. At the pool, Nina sits down with Curtis Ashford, Donnell Turner, and Portia Robinson, Brooke Kerr, in the aftermath of that messy wedding scene. Curtis apologizes to Nina for spilling her dirty secret, but he feels like he had to do it. I wonder if Nina is going to tell Curtis the absolutely awful things that Willow said to her about being jealous that Nellie Hayes, Chloe Lanier, died before finding out Nina was her mom. I almost can't think of a worse thing she could have said. Kudos to the GH writers for that dialogue because she just ripped her mom a new one. Nina does let Portia comfort her. She's absolutely distraught that Willow wants nothing to do with her, and I do think that she's probably going to forgive Curtis. July 29 General Hospital spoilers, Monica's sister revealed and Nina's emotional breakdown. On Wednesday, July 30, Curtis spills to Trina Robinson, Tabiana Ali what went down. He may be telling her about the wedding disaster. Curtis may think for a minute that what he did solved his Drew problem, but I just think he's created a whole bunch of new Drew problems. Rick gets a new client on Wednesday, and it may be Portia because she realizes she has to just get this over with so that she cannot be blackmailed anymore. Michael has to make a big choice, and I wonder if it is about letting Willow see Wiley Quartermain Corinthos, Viren Weaver, and Amelia Grace Corinthos, Sequoia and Serenity Mork-Mako, because surely walking away from that wedding to Drew, the first place she's going to want to go is to see her kids. Nina has some sort of play to make some move, some scheme. I wonder if it's about getting Willow's forgiveness. Elizabeth takes in a house guest, and it may be Willow. She can't go back to Drew, she doesn't want to go back to Nina's, and she needs to be somewhere that's one neutral ground where Michael would let her see the kids. Elizabeth's place would work just fine. General Hospital midweek spoilers, wedding fallout and family reunions. On Thursday, July 31st, Willow is determined, and I think it's to get her kids back, to start rebuilding her life, and maybe never talk to Nina and Drew again. Jason needs a favor from Elizabeth. He drops by her place, and maybe he has questions about the night that Britt tells Jocelyn her concerns, and they might be about her dating Vaughn, Bryce Durfee, now that Anna Devane, Finola Hughes, brought all that up. We'll see. Emma Scorpio Drake, Braden Bruner, opens up to Gio Palmieri, Giovanni Mazza, and I think it's going to be about her plan to expose Dalton. Dante Falconeri, Dominic Zamprogna, is venting to Anna, and I'm guessing that's about the Rocco Falceroni, Finn Francis Carr, and Liesl's situation. July 31st General Hospital spoilers, Willow's determination and Dalton exposure plans. On Friday, August 1st, Emma and Gio are working on a plan, and again, I think it's to break into Dalton's lab because remember Emma lifted Van's keys from him at the bar that night. She's been hanging on to those. I think she was probably hanging out with Van to irritate Jocelyn, but I think it was more about the keys. Dante interrogates Danny Morgan, Asher and Tonazin. Dante might want to find out more about Rocco and Liesl. He may think Danny's a good person to get that from. Felicia Scorpio, Kristina Wagner, has some advice for Lucas Jones, Van Hansis. Alexis Davis, Nancy Lee Grahn wants answers, and it may be from Drew, or it may be about that business conversation Ava wants to have. I wonder if she's going to try and cut Rick out of the blackmail money because she's so mad at him. Jason loops Anna in on his suspicions that Britt didn't die and maybe that Liesl is being sketchy. General Hospital spoilers August 4th to 8th, secret plans and suspicious deaths. The week of August 4th through the 8th, Jason is pondering a big move. After talking to Liesl, he might hop a flight to Croatia to track down this Brit woman. Or maybe Anna can do some checking around. I wonder if she knows that Dalton has ties to Croatia. Rocco is probably going to be pushing back on Dante and Lulu Spencer, Alexa Havens-Bruning, if they tell him he can't talk to Liesl. She was very nice and walked away from that situation the other day, even though she didn't instigate it. Rocco did. You don't mess with an angsty teen like that because they just double down on what they want to do. Gio and Emma might find themselves in a risky situation soon because of this Dalton fixation that Emma has. Wait to see if Willow gets a sweet reunion with her kids. I'm sure Michael is going to have very strict conditions for visitation. His primary thing was that if she dumped Drew, she could see the kids, so I think he will stick to his word. Watch for Drew to be plotting revenge on Curtis and others. I don't think he's going to give up on Willow. Carly is frustrated by that fight with Lucas and him basically walking out of her life. Jocelyn is still annoyed with Sonny, so she may have some things to say about this whole situation. And Liesl will be there to comfort Nina. Drew's explosive outburst, desperate plan to win Willow back. General Hospital sees Drew Kane Quartermain, Camion Matheson, got dumped hard at the altar by Willow Tate, Caitlin McMullen. But do you really think he is just going to walk away and take no for an answer? I think there is a lot more to come. He's going to be lashing out. He's not going to stop. I suspect Willow raging at him is going to send Drew off the deep end looking for payback on his enemies while he's also fighting to get Willow back. General Hospital drama, Willow's shocking discovery and confrontation with Drew. So, Curtis Ashford, Donnell Turner, dropped the bombshell on Willow that her fiancé Drew had been sleeping with her mom, Nina Reeves, Cynthia Watros. Then Willow confronted her mom, Nina, who admitted they had a fling from April to August. The entire time that Willow was first falling in love with him. And of course, Drew never told Willow and neither did her mom. So she lost it and read Nina for filth. But at least she did it in private. But it was so cutting that whole thing about she wished she had been like Nellie Benson, Chloe Lanier, that she died without ever knowing Nina was her mom. Harsh. And then Willow tore Drew a new one at the altar after letting him think they were about to live out their happily ever after. Although I was excited to see Willow snap on him, my one issue with her publicly confronting Drew about banging Nina was that Willow did it in front of his daughter Scout Kane, Cosette Abinante, who is too young to hear all that mess. And of course, like the gaslighter he is, Drew tried dodging the question and then talking his way out of it by saying he only saw Nina because he was fighting his feelings for Willow. Drew's manipulation and Willow's emotional breakdown at the altar. And of course, Drew tried to make himself seem like a good guy. He said he was trying not to mess up Willow and Michael Corinthos' Rory Gibson marriage, but Willow wasn't having it. She clapped back that Drew destroyed her marriage, and Willow said she was an idiot to ever believe him. And then I was so glad of this. It finally dawned on her that Michael told the truth about Drew hurting Wiley Corinthos, Viren Weaver, saying those awful things when he knew the kid could overhear. Willow spoke a whole bunch of facts saying Drew told her what she wanted to hear and would promise her anything to keep her with him. And then of course things like, "Yo, you won't lose your kids." And then she did. Then Willow told Drew, "You never touch me again," and she walked out. And I do like that Nina hopped up on her little pink heels and blocked him like a linebacker from following Willow out. Drew's revenge plans and legal maneuvers after the broken engagement. Despite all that, I just don't see Drew letting his dream girl, Willow, go without a fight. And then we had Nina and Drew's showdown at the church, and that derailed his pursuit. But then Drew ran over and told his lawyer, Martin Gray, Michael E. Knight, that he had a job for him. So, I am certain Drew is already up to something. It may be about Martin going to the PCPD to report Portia Robinson, Brooke Kerr, and Nina for dosing him with a ketamine, although Nina didn't seem too worried about that and said, "Everybody sees Drew for a fraud now." And of course, right now, Willow's furious that she lost her kids because of Drew. And Willow's first thought was to run to Wiley and Amelia Grace Corinthos, Sequoia and Serenity Mork-Mako. Willow's struggles and the impact on her family relationships. So, we saw mascara-streaked Willow show up at Carly Corinthos Spencer, Laura Wright, still in her wedding gown, begging to see her children, looking like the hot mess that she is. So, I do think Michael is going to let Willow see the kids soon since she did dump Drew. But I am worried that her split from him won't last with the split from Drew. That's what I'm worried about. I mean, we've seen Willow go dark recently. She was gaslighting Sasha Gilmore, Sophia Matson, and Michael, messing with baby Daisy, and then Willow was totally on board with Drew's plan to frame Michael as an opioid addict, and she was smirking about running Sasha and Daisy out of town. If Michael finds out any of that, he may kick Willow back out of the kids' lives, even though he's probably going to let her back in, at least in the short term. Drew's target list, enemies and family members in his crosshairs. And I'm sure Drew is going to keep trying to worm his way back into Willow's life. But in the meantime, I expect Drew to amp up the plotting against his enemies, including those he blames for costing him his I-do-way with Willow. And for Drew, that means Curtis Ashford, Donnell Turner, and Portia off the top. It shouldn't be too long before Drew figures out it was Curtis that blabbed to Willow about his fling with Nina. The woman who would have been his mother-in-law, I am guessing that Drew is going to want payback on Nina too. And once Drew finds out Willow left the church and ran to beg Michael to let her back into the kids' lives, putting her back in Michael's orbit, then Drew may continue plotting against Michael. Potential escalation, Drew's obsessive love and dangerous schemes. Drew might think doing that opioid thing to get the kids taken away from Michael is still the way to go because it would give back the kids to Willow. And in Drew's messy mind, he thinks it might salvage things with him and Willow and he can get her back to the altar. And that means Drew might keep up the pressure on Portia to alter Michael's drug test to look like an addict. I mean, Curtis breaking up Drew and Willow honestly just gave Drew more time and more incentive to devote to revenge, not less time. It wasn't a great plan. So, Portia may still lose her job and her medical license because why would Drew stop going after her when Curtis ruined his wedding day and cost him the woman he loves on General Hospital? And Drew also, of course, has a grudge against Tracy Quartermaine, Jane Elliott. And she and Cody Bell, Josh Kelly, are laughing their butts off this week about Willow walking out on him. Drew is going to go over to the Quartermaine mansion looking for Willow. And there's Tracy laughing right in his face because he got dumped at the altar. So Drew may be back to taking aim at all the Quartermaines for rejecting him and Tracy for mocking his pain. I mean, crazy as Drew is, he really does love Willow. Now it's an obsessive love. Yes, it's not healthy, but I do think it is love. Broader impact, Drew's vendettas affecting multiple characters in General Hospital. And Drew may double down on making sure Sonny Corinthos, Maurice Benard, loses the peers since that'll also hurt his ex Carly and Michael's dad. And Drew may double down with Sidwell, Carlo Rhoda to lash out at Sonny. Plus, Drew's partnership with Ezra Boyle, Daniel Cosgrove may heat up, too, because Laura Spencer Collins, Jeannie Francis, definitely won't feel bad that Drew got dumped by Willow. Pretty much anyone that he's got a grudge against for any reason, large or small, is probably going to face Drew's wrath starting very soon. What I'm interested to see is what lengths he will go to trying to get Willow back. Will he burn all of poor Charles to put at her feet? Specifically Michael and others. Speculation on Willow's vulnerability and Drew's potential to reconcile. And what I'm really afraid of is that Drew might actually convince her to reconcile because Willow is pretty weak-minded. Let's face it, that time spent growing up in the cult left her with serious emotional scars and some behavioral issues, and I think makes her just weak and prime for gaslighting. So, we'll see how it goes, but I suspect Drew goes full crazy eyes unhinged soon because he was so close to getting what he wanted only to have Willow call it off in the worst and most public way possible.